Welcome back. You just heard from Leslie Morgan-Steiner, a domestic violence survivor and national DV advocate and the author of the book Crazy Love. More than 3 million people have seen her TED Talk on domestic violence. We sat down with her earlier this year during her visit to the Tampa Bay area, and she was very vocal about why local domestic violence centers need our support. The experts at DV centers are best equipped to help, she says, because so many times our family and friends struggle with how to react to these situations. So here now is more from domestic violence centers, this time in Pinellas County, on how they could really use your help.
Tampa Bay Rays and Kaboom, we built this wonderful playground. And the only problem is with the Florida sun, the metal components get so hot that we sometimes have to limit the usage of the playground because we don't have any shade. So if we had the sailcloths, then even on the hottest days, the kids could be out there playing.
Survivors of domestic violence need help filling out their injunction for protection paperwork, and it's a very important tool for safety. And we need volunteers to give of their time so they can provide some help and some hope and help survivors who are in trauma fill out the complicated paperwork and get that safety that they need from their injunction.
The young woman you're about to meet was leading a double life in high school. She was actually on her own during her senior year. The odds were stacked against her until she met 3 strangers who would change her life forever. 20-year-old Kelsey Mitchell is a sophomore at Florida State University. Trips home from Tallahassee always include a visit with her heroes in Tampa.
How are you doing?
Doctors Caitlin Martini and Randy Feldman met Kelsey almost 2 years ago. Like many victims of domestic violence, Kelsey and her mom had gone years without seeing a dentist.
She presented very, very severe, almost what we call handicapping malocclusion. Malocclusion is a French word meaning improper bite. She had a cross bite, a deep bite, multi-area focal rotations, which means teeth are twisted, and she did not have the proper ability to chew properly.
$10,000 in dental work so far. Martini and Feldman have done it all for free.
She's had root canal treatment. She's had her wisdom teeth taken out.
Kelsey was a senior at Robinson High School when they met, and she was homeless.
Sometimes we would have to have a talk, like, do we go grocery shopping and buy actual food, or do we pay electricity bill?
School officials called her a couch hopper on her own for 6 months after her mom and older sister had moved again. Kelsey stayed, determined to finish high school.
I wanted to be better. I didn't want to be like my mom, who is poor and broken.
The ability to use your talent, your God-given talent to give back, makes a world of difference.
These everyday heroes using their gifts to do something extraordinary in Kelsey. Robinson High, class of 2015, and an FSU Seminole in 2016.
But I can get you garnet and gold elastics if you want.
No, okay.
It's a happy ending, impossible without this woman.
And it took us a while to get her to realize that she didn't do anything wrong.
Vicky Sokolik, small but mighty. Vicky is the super of Kelsey's heroes, the first one to meet her at school.
Kelsey didn't even know that we were coming to interview her. So she was pretty shocked that here all of a sudden these people are there asking her a million questions and she doesn't even know why. And she was not really very kind about it because she was afraid she was going to get in trouble or that someone was going to get in trouble.
Vicky's giving nature helping Kelsey and other homeless teens without a safety net, not even the foster care system. Vicky determined to help 24 kids graduate from Hillsborough High Schools this year alone. Her organization is called Starting Right Now, on a mission to keep teens from slipping through the cracks, especially with so many of them traumatized by domestic violence.
But it does not affect one person in the family. It cannot. When you're living with domestic violence in your home, it affects you. You become beaten down, and every word that's spoken to anyone else in that house, you attach to it.
He didn't let my mom have friends, you know. She didn't have a job. Yeah, I completely isolated her. To think of your father as like the worst form of like life is like traumatizing, you know. It's still something I deal with.
When she first came in the program, she would not make eye contact with you. And if she was going to talk to you or smile, she'd always cover her mouth. So I knew that was a real sore point with her because she didn't want anyone to see her smile. And she was very shamed of her story.
From dressmakers to dream makers, Vicki recruited others to help, saving Kelsey from her past by building her up for the future.
My worst day doesn't look anything like any of their bad days. And I look at them and I think, oh my God, they're so resilient.
To be able to do something that someone needs so badly and have that skill and have the ability to bring my team at the office in on that and be able to provide this for her, it's very rewarding.
1 + 1 = 1,000. Nothing's stopping her now.
They're going to be our leaders. So no, these kids are my heroes.
Kelsey is studying marketing at FSU and getting A's in accounting. We want to thank her for bravely sharing her story with us. Sadly, it's a story not unique to Kelsey. Domestic violence is at the heart of the problem for many homeless teenagers who they meet at Starting Right Now. The charity is expanding into Pinellas County in January, adding 40 teens to their program. That means next school year, they'll be able to help 80 teenagers graduate from high school. If you'd like to learn more about how you can help, visit startingrightnow.org. You can also find them at facebook.com/startingrightnow. Kelsey is doing so great, and she's got such a promising future now.
We've met some amazing teenagers over the course of this campaign. Our next hero you're about to meet was only a sophomore in high school when she came up with an idea that made a huge difference for the Domestic Violence Center in Hillsborough County, where she and her family live. Take a look.
The purple sneakers and socks got way more attention than the basketball or even her that final season at Strawberry Crest High School.
I would get coaches from other teams while we're warming up, like, why do you guys have on purple?
The Chargers' star player,
When you get 1,000 points, that's like a really big deal. So.
Leah Gregory, had folks looking at her feet instead of her hands.
A lot of people, of course, would ask about, like, that doesn't even match purple and red, they don't really go together. But
A deliberate mismatch that thrilled her parents.
Just really wanted to come to every game just to see what was going on.
The more questions raised by competitors and coaches, the better.
She asked, if your school colors are red, why is everybody wearing purple shoes? So, that was an opportunity for her to even share with the opponent.
What she shared was domestic violence awareness. The warning signs, the hotline, purple as the national symbol of domestic violence awareness. All of it poured out of Leah and into a captive audience.
I went to a pretty big high school, so I'm sure someone experienced it, and some of them might not have been comfortable talking about it.
In my mind, I'm in my 20s, but the reality is I'm not. I'm old, right? And so if I go in and try and talk to folks, to young people, to teenagers, to high school students about domestic violence and about teen dating violence, they're going to be thinking, yeah, that's something that happens to someone else. When someone that they know and respect, when this athletic star talks about it and wears purple socks and demonstrates by everything she's doing that she cares about this cause, people are going to pay attention, and her peers, her fellow classmates are going to pay attention. It's going to make a huge difference, and it already has.
Leah didn't just wear purple, she asked the entire team to do it. And then she convinced fans to donate a few dollars to the Spring Domestic Violence Center every time she scored that last season of her senior year.
We were putting in a lot of work and time and effort into this whole project. But in the back of my head, I'm like, oh yeah, it would be pretty good if we got like, $500, And then my mom was like, we almost got $1,600. I was like, what?
Scoring more than 600 points, she raised nearly $1,600.
It's really a powerful gift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is she your superhero?
She is my superhero. We just had a superhero campaign at the spring for back to school, And Leah would qualify. We could put her in a cape and she would be my hero. You, Leah, are my hero because you recognized at such a young age that one person has the power to do good and make a difference.
Minnie Murphy is the president of the Spring. On the day of our visit with her and Aaliyah, the basketball phenom was home from the University of Central Florida.
I do this. This is what I do. This is what I do.
She may be a star player to the Knights, but to Tampa, she's a superstar, helping advocates at the Spring who stretch every dollar to serve some 2,500 people per year in direct services.
We can answer 177 hotline calls and safety plan with people. That same amount of money, that just over $1,500, can actually provide 75 individuals with one-on-one supportive counseling in our outreach center. It can feed a family of 4 for several weeks and provide services in our shelter.
It's no secret Aaliyah loves basketball, but why she chose domestic violence awareness as her cause is less obvious. Her parents have been happily married for almost 25 years. Aaliyah is the baby of the house, playing basketball with big sister Erin practically from birth. Aaliyah's dreamed of being a basketball player since kindergarten, and here's the proof in writing. Mom saved it all these years. It's an NBA dream nurtured by the entire family, especially her doting aunt, Nicole.
She was at every game, whether it be Titusville, Auburndale, Orlando.
Auntie Nikki stopped coming 5 years ago. It was 2011. She was found beaten and stabbed at home in Jacksonville. Her estranged husband has been in jail since then, and he's charged with first-degree murder, still awaiting trial.
Of course, if I could do anything to have my sister back, I would, but I know she's in heaven smiling down, and she's extremely proud of Aaliyah, and so am I.
Do you see yourself as a hero?
I guess I do now, but I always try and be a good role model for those around me.
12-year-old Jalen thinks Aaliyah's doing a fine job, and he should know. He's not only Aaliyah's cousin, he's Auntie Nikki's baby, her youngest son.
How is she as a big cousin?
Really good. She's supportive, and she's always, like, when I doubt myself, she's always telling me that you can do it, and when I'm, like, not smiling, she'll make me happy.
We all just walk in love. We make sure that if we don't teach him anything else, we teach him how to love.
The family took Jalen in just shy of his 7th birthday. So long before Aaliyah became a hero to the Spring, she was his.
When you hear a domestic violence case, just don't think about the mom. I mean, it's still important, but the children too, because that's something really hard to go through.
When something like that happens, it's easy to, get into yourself and say, well, I went through something very tragic. I need to get myself together. But I think it's big for our whole family to, get outside ourselves and say, how can we help this from happening to other people? So I think she would be really proud that we're doing this.
Since we launched Taking Action Against Domestic Violence in 2009, we've shown you how local advocates have helped transform victims into victors.
What we didn't expect is that so many of you over the years would take action too, supporting local domestic violence centers by volunteering your time and your talents.
So tonight, we're not just paying tribute to the heroes we've profiled in this special, we're celebrating all of you who have done something to help.
Before we go, we'd like to take a moment to remember a woman who was a hero to thousands over the years, the late Linda Osmondson. She passed away in January after 26 years at the helm of the Casa Domestic Violence Center in St. Pete. Linda was 66 years old.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our 8th annual Taking Action Against Domestic Violence special.
And from our family to yours.
Thank you for all of your support all of these years.
Good night.